Absolutely. So AI has a myriad of different ways that businesses can apply it. And I think that where it's most effective when it comes to really optimizing and creating content is a lot of the groundwork that happens before you're doing the content creation. I would say that we're still not at a place that you want to sort of turn the reins over to allowing the AI to write anything independently, but it's fantastic for things like ideation, for really being able to analyze and sort of get an overarching view of both commonalities as well as potentially significant things that you might want to include into the content itself. So being able to do things like analyzing reviews, for example, or doing competitor analysis, even doing research on your customers and building out really strong brand avatars. Those are all fantastic ways that you can very quickly and easily leverage AI, even if you're not feeling super confident with it. And then being able to use all of those findings as a foundation for then being able to build out your content, be that your Amazon listing, your website, or anywhere else that you are showing up on. There are a lot of challenges when it comes to using AI for copywriting. A few right off the bat, I'm sure we're all familiar with the hallucinations that can happen when it comes to AI, so it might just give you flat out wrong information. So always take anything that AI is giving you with a grain of salt. We've also found, and this is with pretty extensive testing across a variety of different tools, that typically if you're using it for content creation, it sounds very generic and can be pretty repetitive, and so it's not fantastic at being creative, thinking outside of the box, making unique connections, or really kind of taking it to that next level when it comes to fully capturing your brand voice. And so you definitely want to steer away from allowing it to just flat out write things. We're seeing more and more tools coming out that are actually taking over or saying that they can take over the full content creation for things like your product pages. And I would not allow those to just run free. The other thing to keep in mind with those is that they're likely taking what's already there with your competitors and then synthesizing it. So they're not necessarily giving a lot of new or fresh ideas compared to being able to see what your competitors are doing and then thinking outside of the box or from a creative positioning standpoint to really give yourself an edge over everyone else. I would say, first of all, it can be really overwhelming when it comes to thinking about how to integrate AI into your business or into even a particular workflow. And so I would start by just thinking really small and thinking of one thing that you're trying to solve for. And a lot of times that one thing that you're trying to solve for can be solved by a really basic tool like a ChatGPT or a CLAD or one of the other sort of more chat-based AI tools. I think it gets really overwhelming when you start to get it into a lot of the different tailored tools that are popping up. I mean, I think every day we see 100 plus different tools that are all sort of saying that they do the same thing, and then it's confusing to even know what that thing is. So a lot of times if you're able to just kind of take a step back and think, what is this problem that I'm facing and how can I maybe use AI for this? So one of the easiest ways to get started with that is to overcome the stress of having a blank page. So if you get really overwhelmed when you have to write something, be that an email or a product page or really anything, any of those basic chat AI tools really alleviate the stress that comes along with that. So learning how to engage with those to be able to think up different, not only ideas, but ways of saying things will speed up a lot of the parts of writing that can really drag on, wear you down, and sort of make you hope to find a task that might not be as emotionally challenging at the moment. So I would say that's, don't overcomplicate it. Really make it simple and just solve for that one thing. So as I mentioned, we're a big fan of the basics. We have tested a lot of the sort of add-on tools like a Jasper or a WriteSonic or Copy AI. I mean, we've tested probably at least 10 of those sort of content or copy specific tools. And essentially what those tools are is they're their own proprietary prompts that just help you get a little bit closer to what they've determined is a good outcome for a piece of ad copy or a PPC campaign. And so it's sort of all through their lens of what they're looking for, which there's not necessarily anything wrong with that, but you might feel that it's a little bit limiting for what it is that you're looking to create. So I don't think personally, and this is what we've found to be true for our team as well, that any of those tools are that much more of a game changer, and having that ease of being able to interact with the chatbot like ChatGPT, or recently we've been really into CLAD. ChatGPT in particular, there's been quite a bit about the fact that the quality of the answers that it's been generating have been degrading, and so we've been experimenting with CLAD and have had really positive results with that so far. And so that's where we go, and then it's really about how can we refine and tweak the prompts that we're giving it to get closer and closer to the outcomes that we want. So I think it really comes down to more of how much time you want to spend in refining your prompting process, and if that feels a little bit too much for you, then it's possible that something like a Jasper would actually be a great, easy way to familiarize yourself with incorporating AI into your workflow. Absolutely. So one of the really cool things about AI is that you can use it to build out a brand persona. So you can get super specific with it and creating just the same way as you might do a customer avatar, which a customer avatar is a really thorough profile of who your target customer is. So you can do the same thing for your own brand to really begin to mold the outputs that you're getting from the AI to be more in line with how you want to your brand voice to come across with your content. And so what's also really cool about that is you can build that out and then have the AI create based on that voice. So you can give it a clear idea of everything from, you know, what age your brand is, what their interests are. You can even prompt it to sound like famous people. So, you know, maybe you're selling a health and wellness product, and so you want it to have a little bit of an Andrew Huberman sort of spin on how it talks, you know, so very straightforward, matter of fact, scientifically based, no nonsense. It can do all of that, and then you can add in these other pieces as well, but maybe you still want it to have a little bit more of a sense of humor or a softness, and so you can continue to refine that brand persona until you get it to a point where you're really happy with it, and then prompt the AI to use that brand voice to then create all those other assets or give you ideas for all those other assets, again, not just taking it verbatim. So then when you're creating ad copy or social content or website content or a product page, it's all sort of starting out through a base of that brand identity, and then you're able to build on top of it. That's where we enter a little bit of trickier territory with some of these AI tools that aren't yet trained on the most up-to-date information. So you might be better served by an AI tool that is directly sort of connected in with the internet, like a Bing, or other tools that are scraping and collecting data and then analyzing that for your needs. So when it comes to staying on top of trends and what's happening, I would say it really depends on what specifically you're looking to do with that information and what kind of information that you need. So if it's purely to kind of digest the news and what's happening, or even alert you to certain topics, digesting lots of information. There are tools for all of those different things, but they're probably going to be a little bit more specific to what it is that you need exactly versus just kind of a run-of-the-mill thing that can assimilate all of that. But again, you just want to make sure that you are getting the most up-to-date information and that you're not getting something that was true 3 years ago and is no longer true today. So in general, a good rule of thumb is to always make sure that you're fact checking things and doing a little bit of your own research once you're given that output, rather than just assuming that what you're receiving is absolutely such a challenging question. I don't think that any of us anticipated 6 months ago, or I guess it's a little bit longer now, eight months ago, that we'd be where we are when it comes to AI. Things have both moved very quickly, and still a lot really hasn't changed that much at all. I'd say the best thing that you can do is really just stay on top of what's happening. Just today, Amazon was testing some new AI things when it comes to reviews and generative AI, and sort of pulling out kind of like little snippets of takeaways of the reviews so that people can get a better sense of what people are really liking or disliking about a product. And so that's just one tiny little thing that could have a pretty significant impact on the way that people are shopping, the way that people are engaging. AI allows for you to get hyper targeted and really specific with everything from who you're talking to how something is being served. And so the best I think that any of us can do is try to make sure that we're staying up to date, but also not forgetting the fundamentals and the importance of making sure that we're still doing all of the things that we need to do in order to build really solid businesses. I think that's one of the things that you can sometimes get a little bit lost in when you're diving headfirst into all of this AI stuff. Is it's really easy to get shiny object syndrome and to find a lot of cool new things and stuff that you want to check out or things that you want to try. And so you might sort of let slip some of the other elements that are really important to your business, so making sure that you're always having an eye towards how you're engaging with customers, how you're putting yourself out there into the world. And really, AI makes it even more important for brands to have strong clarity in who they are and who they're selling to, because there's just increasingly more noise that's on the internet. And so being able to really break through that and still create meaningful connections is more important than ever before.